Some bioplastics are made from agricultural crops like corn or sugarcane. But does this have an impact on food availability? Hello, my name is Heather Nortz with the Plastics Industry Association. Joining us today is Hasso von Pogrell, Managing Director of European Bioplastics, here to discuss the industrial use of agricultural feedstocks for bioplastics. Hasso, thank you for being here.
Hello, Heather. The pleasure is all mine.
So as you're well aware, the use of agricultural feedstocks for the production of bioplastics is discussed pretty controversially. What information does European Bioplastics have to understand this discussion?
So I think the first thing is to look at the benefits of the industrial use of agricultural feedstocks. For one, they reduce the dependency on limited fossil resources. And looking at the geopolitical situation today, that cannot be overestimated. They reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and they contribute to resource efficiency through use cascades. So in contrast to biofuels that can only be used once, they can be reused and recycled over and over again.
That's interesting. I hadn't considered the environmental benefits of being able to reuse that product over and over again. But what's your response to the opposing viewpoint that all edible feedstocks should be made available for human consumption only, especially as the population grows so rapidly?
Well, I'm certainly aware that there is very controversial discussion about this and whether converting edible feedstock into bioplastics is actually ethically justifiable. But maybe just to get some facts straight, currently roughly 95% of the global agricultural area is devoted to grow for food and feed, and 2/3 of it in form of pastures for animal feed alone. And of the remaining small amount, only a very little amount is actually used for material use. And of this, again, a tiny amount is going into bioplastics. And even in 5 years from now, when we predict quite a massive growth, the share will still be very, very low, resulting into about 1 out of every 2,000 acres. So we also made a calculation to see what would happen if you were to substitute all plastics by bio-based plastics. And we came to the conclusion that would be roughly 5% of the global agricultural area. And even this number is way too high if you take into consideration that our calculations were based on a worst case scenario, assuming that the entire plant is being used for bioplastics. And it's also not taken into consideration that the efficiency in agricultural areas is growing and that there's a trend to switch to non-food crops.
So it sounds like there is enough room for both bioplastics to exist while still working towards food security worldwide. That's fantastic. So thank you so much for your insights, Hasso.
You're very welcome.
For more information on this topic, visit European Bioplastics webpage through the link on the screen and keep following along on social media with #BioplasticsWeek.